Here we go. It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes Magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Good morning, everyone. Awesome show this week. Lots of stuff happening. Market's kind of heating up a little bit for summertime. I just had a big holiday weekend, and we got some interesting stuff going on. We'll look at the halfway point. We have a lot of data in, and definitely some headwinds in terms of how the real estate market ended up first half of the year. We had hopefully some relief coming in the future September Fed meeting. We'll talk about that, where a lot of people are talking about potentially seeing some rate drops that will help the mortgage industry. In terms of rates coming down. So we'll talk about that. We'll look at the actual data and the prediction. There's a real-time track that tracks the percentage of a drop. Obviously, the one coming up in July, not going to be seeing a drop from the Fed, but everyone's kind of pushing for either September, October, and hopefully see a bunch of future ones. We'll talk about kind of what that looks like overall, but really to kind of dig into those numbers, look at numbers from last week. They did pretty decent. One with being a holiday, which means a lot of people weren't looking at houses on the holiday, and so new properties under contract was actually really good. Overall. So that's great news. We'll look at kind of what's happening for the second half of the year, what to think about, what to do. And one thing that's really been a few questions I've gotten lately that I just kind of talk about is what to do when you're buying and selling a house at the same time. That's what we call the delicate dance. A lot of people kind of get confused on what should I do first, what should I do second. And there's different strategies based on your situation. But we'll kind of help everyone out because it's catch-22. Do you get stuck owning two properties, or do you not own any property? Is obviously a big fear for everyone. Again, our investment fund is continue to buy properties. Just bought another property last week. Actually bought a condo. But we will be able to buy anything that you want to cash offer, instant offer. We have a large investment fund with millions of dollars looking to buy properties here. Also buy commercial businesses, service-based businesses. And I'm personally looking to buy a termite pest inspection business. If you know anyone out there that maybe have one of those looking to sell, definitely reach out and call me. Again, our team also in hiring mode like crazy. The market obviously is in that summertime period. We have not pulled back in any type of marketing. We've been doubling down while a lot of agents have been really kind of backing off. And we're looking to add 8 players to our team. Anybody that's in real estate now listening or watching, also anybody that may be in a different industry is not fully fulfilled. If you feel like you're like a level 8 or 9 talent, but you're stuck in a level 2 opportunity, that's who I'm looking for. Reach out to me at blakesloan.com. Just call us 843-808-SOLD. As usual, if you ever want to come back and watch these shows again or share them, we stream to YouTube, we stream to LinkedIn. You can follow me at Blake Sloan on Facebook, and also we stream those there. But we have one goal in the show, the same thing we're doing every single week for 15 years here, is just provide value and information, help you make better decisions for your largest assets, which most people is real estate. And so that's what we'll talk about today. Lots of great stuff coming up. For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment. All of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly, and a quick overview of how they work, Blake. Yes, Rick, and again, it's this is the whole reason I do this show. It's just I really want to help overcome this challenge and issue, and it's by far the number one mistake that anyone makes in terms of their largest assets, which is real estate. And the mistake that everyone makes is thinking that all real estate agents are the same. I just had a horror story happen literally yesterday from someone who is an agent in North Carolina who has a property here, the same exact thing. It's crazy. They reached out to us, like, I already have it listed with this other agent to see if you can make a cash offer on it. I'm not interested in listing it. And I look up the agent. Agent has only sold like 4 homes in the last 12 months, so no marketing money. And the pictures are absolutely terrible. It's a $600,000 condo on the water, and it looks like they're taken with cell phone photos. There's a couple other ones that are pending, and guess what? They look amazing. Great marketing, great photos, and it's so crazy. Everybody makes these mistakes. So here's the deal. The biggest mistake anyone makes when it comes to real estate and selling your property is thinking that all agents are the same. It could not be any further from truth. And because it's a long sales cycle, it's a very high value product, meaning
You have a lot of nuances in terms of how it's handled, what's done, pricing strategy. And so a lot of people don't realize that the single most important variable that determines your success or failure as a home seller comes to one thing only. And the thing is the agent that you choose, period. How they advise you, how they guide you, how the strategy comes about, how they execute. And what people got to realize is it's humans. And so as anyone knows, most humans are just average, and that's at best. And so if you have a doctor, lawyer, right, if I'm charged with a crime I didn't commit, I don't want a part-time attorney. I don't want the cheapest attorney. I want an attorney who's absolutely great at what they do, who's obsessed with what they do, who's aggressive and is absolute beast in the courtroom, right? I want the same exact thing from a doctor. If I have something that's a life-threatening illness, I don't want the doc in the box who's just trying to pump me through, in 5 minutes. I want a specialist who is obsessed with that type of medicine, who wants to help solve the problem, and who's the best of the best, right? And so you should demand the same level of excellence when you're dealing with largest assets. And that's the whole thing behind this show, because I hear horror story after horror story after horror story. And even the person yesterday, I'll share that at the end of the show, but like he even said, he's like, "Oh, just make me a low offer. We'll take a low offer. We're tired of dealing with it." And I'm thinking like, dude, or you could just list it with somebody who's actually good and get the money you deserve for it. And that's the key part that I'll talk about, is just people make so many mistakes. And so what people don't realize, when you're selling a property, is 118 different variables from A to Z. And so if each one's handled correctly, puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point. That could be anything from price strategy, from the quality of photos, like the other one. It could be the order of the photos. Like, for example, if all, and this same thing happened there, if all the first 5 photos are all the exterior of the property, the buyer doesn't even look through all 5. They just move to the next listing, right? Especially now there's a lot of competition out there. And so there's just so many nuances. Do they actually call buyers back? We talked a few shows ago how there's this big company who did a study of all real estate companies in all states. And it was like, I can't remember the data points, but it was like 50,000 phone calls they did to test out. And they found that less than 50% of buyer inquiries even got a call back, which is crazy, right? Somebody calls to buy your property, but 50% of the time the agent doesn't even respond to them. Why is that? It's not because they're bad or they're angry. The reality is it's impossible for one single agent to juggle all the balls on 118 different variables on one listing, much less on 5 or 10 listings. And so they're also, guess what they're also doing? Working with buyers, right? Running buyers around, showing them properties, writing contracts, negotiating contracts. And so what you end up having is this old school agent model, which is how 99% of agents operate in North America, where you have one agent trying to juggle the balls, work with buyers, work with sellers, do all their marketing, all their administration, all their contract to close issues, all the appraisal issues, right? And so you have the same person, McDonald's, in the front register, the drive-thru and French fries at the same time. It's very inefficient. They're jumping back and forth continually, which is why the service is bad, which is why the execution's bad. And it just is not the full amount of execution that you need to get the most money for your property. And so when I got into business, I'm like, man, there's got to be a better way. We started out, my mom and I, Coldwell Banker, whole family sold real estate growing up, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma, but got in business in January 2005. And we were at Coldwell Banker, as us and 200 agents. They didn't care about us, and I didn't really care about them, right? I expected them to like help us, want to help or want to sell listings. Not at all, right? Everyone was individual, independent contractors. There was no alignment, nothing. And so what that means is there's no value to the consumer there. You're just picking one single agent in that company. And the only real difference between any company is how they pay their agents. That's it. There's no real value proposition. And so what I did is like, there's got to be a better way. And I looked at what people did outside of real estate and traditional brick and mortar businesses where there's alignment, and specifically specialists. Because if you look at how real estate agents operate, they're all generalists. They just do everything, right? They just do every single thing from buyers, sellers, administration. There's no way you can be really good at administration and paperwork and also really good at sales. It's just how people are wired from personality trait and how their actual personality type works. For example, if they're introverted, they're more attention to detail. They're what we call an SC personality. They're not the ones that are extroverted that are good at sales. And so typically great salespeople are not very good at paperwork, which is why you want to have support staff to help make sure that every single thing, all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. And so what I did, how about we take this model, we flip it upside down, we create a team of specialists where each person specializes in what they do. We have inside sales, we have outside sales, we have listing coordinator, closing coordinators, photographer, videographer, all in-house. And we're able to make sure that each person can execute at the highest level on what they're good at so that you can move the needle, right? It's just like stacking the dominoes, 118 different variables. We have a proven repeatable system. So I know that I can create a small gap at point 1, a small gap point 2, a small gap point 3, and you add that up over 100 plus variables. It creates a massive gap and a competitive advantage for our client. And that's exactly what I did. I designed this thing called the Guaranteed Sold System. The only proven system sells twice as fast. And for 20% more money than traditional methods, it works very, very, very well. And so it's backed up by two main things: a large team of people, of specialists who are very good at what they do, and also technology that will make sure that everything happens the same way every single time, so you can measure it, right? To make sure, and that's one of my early mentors said, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And so it's very important to make sure that you're able to measure what's happening, when it happens, that each person does what they're supposed to do, versus the old school single agent who's just juggling by the ball, flying by the seat of their pants, just playing whack-a-mole, hoping to just get the squeaky wheel. And so with that system, it helps get more eyeballs on your property, gets more action on your property. We're able to move the needle and get people in there. And I'll explain that kind of how it works. If you want to see how it works, you can always check out a detailed documentary we made at blakesloan.com. But guess what? Same plus problem for buyers out there. It's a very difficult market for buyers, right? Fairly low inventory, right? High interest rates, a lot of resistance out there. You want to make sure you have an expert who can really advise you on what to do in terms of buying strategy, finding properties, finding off-market properties, getting the best financing. And so we have this thing there called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Get you prior to access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best financing and negotiation, both in price and also home inspection, to get you to that closing table successfully, and then also support you after you buy the home in terms of vendors and things that you need to help make sure you take care of that. So if you want to know more how it works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD. If you have any questions, we're here to serve you. And again, you can always watch a detailed documentary about the whole system at blakesloan.com. We'll be right back in a second.
Here with the only real estate agent in your market that I recommend, Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. And thanks for joining me today. A lot of real estate companies are making instant offers these days. What makes yours different from what they're offering?
Hey, Sean, that's such a great question. The massive difference is we actually buy your house. Most of those advertisements you hear, even on the same station, are wholesalers. They're just there to lock your property up at a discount price and try to assign it to someone else, make money off your hard-earned equity. Then they leave you hanging at the closing table if they can't find someone else. They never had any intention of closing. Most don't even have the money to close if they wanted to. We're local. We have millions of dollars, and we actually close the deal.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date. Find out how much demand your home can command right now. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com. And consider your home sold.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbett. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. We offer several options for home sellers, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers that time crunch, we can agree to sell it on a certain date, pay cash for home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
We use our proven marketing plan and sell it to the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market update, all kind of stuff going on. It's interesting enough. We got kind of the headwinds in some areas. The market be up, market's down. It all kind of comes down to interest rates, right? Where's everybody kind of on the sidelines? We saw some crazy data that showed for the Mortgage Banker Association, 75% of buyers who are qualified, who have filled out an application right now, are in a holding pattern watching what's happening with interest rates, right? Which is crazy, which means there's so much pent up demand of people who want to buy, who want to move, who are locked in kind of either in a low interest rate somewhere else, or they're waiting for affordability. And so it's interesting, but Myrtle Beach is still having a lot of buyers who are relocating here, which is powerful. It gives us a unique kind of opportunity where people are selling properties in different states, specifically up north with a much higher average sale price. They come here and see a great deal. And we're seeing big money. We'll talk about some of the properties that went under contract last 7 days. All the big ones are going to contract in like a couple days, which is crazy. One on the Ocean and the Dunes Club was one under contract, $3.5 million, same day, 1 day on the market, boom, gone, which is crazy. There's just a lot of pockets and a lot of big money coming in. They're scooping these things up like crazy. But look at the last 7 days. You have two types of numbers. The front windshield numbers, that's like what's happening real time right now. That's really the most valuable from a strategy standpoint. If I'm looking to sell or pick my price in my house, it's a real time pulse. We always track how many properties went under contract last 7 days, how many properties, basically went under contract in terms of volume. And we can always measure that kind of heat of the market with that. And so in the last 7 days, 490 properties for 191,766. So that's great, especially considering some of that was that July 4th weekend when a lot of people tend to not work, agents especially. But A lot of people just weren't looking at properties during that time period. So you'll see that bump up in next week's show, at least my opinion, which is still great news there. And some big stuff, like I said, the one on the Dunes Club, one at $3.5 million, 3 properties over $2 million, 18 properties over $1 million, and 89 properties over 500,000. So lots of big stuff moving with that. And again, super quick. If you look at 3.5 under contract in 1 day, the 2.8 million, which is North Ocean Boulevard, 7-bedroom house, 2.8 million under contract 9 days. 1.69 million, and that was in Calabash, 4 days under contract. So it's a lot of demand for this super high-end houses here, and it's just crazy to see a lot of money coming from outside the area who are scooping these things up. And so it's great for us, great for economy. You're seeing a lot of great stuff. I've even talked to a few people, some big CEOs have bought some properties here who are like big Fortune 500 companies have bought some properties here. It's from people I know, which is great news for us as a Myrtle Beach kind of being on the map. But great stuff there. Inventory has kind of been really good, hanging where it has been the past couple weeks, which is good for sellers where it's not too many in terms of 1,749 properties active on the market in Horry County that are resales. Last week's show was 1,741. So right there with where it was. Interesting part, though, if you missed last week's show, we jumped into closed sales last month, which closed sales year versus year. So it compares June versus June. So June 2025 versus June 2024, 14% increase in closed sales, which is shocking, really. Doesn't feel like that in the marketplace, that's for sure. But prices have declined. Average sale price was down 5.8%. And so price is a lagging indicator, so it's slower the previous months before that. But $471,117 is the average sale price. It was at $508,000. So it went back below $500,000 by about $30,000+ just month versus month. And so it'll bounce around a little bit, but that is something to kind of watch and see overall. Days on market last month, it took 108 days on average to sell a property. Those are the ones that actually sold. You're still seeing a little bit over 50% of properties don't sell. So, for example, if 100 properties get listed, less than 50 of them actually sell. And so that's just something to think about when you pick your agent, when you pick your strategy. And that's something no one really talks about. They don't even track that in most cases. You have to look it up. And so at the end, they can either renew that listing, right? Typically 6 months, or they pull it off, expires, and it goes somewhere else. But right now, 50+% are expiring at the end of that. And that's not even counting the ones that extended with their same agent. So very, very interesting numbers there, to say the least. Right now, showings per listing, the average listing the entire time it's listed for a single family home gets 3.4 showings per listing, down 15% year versus year. The problem there is the average amount of showings it takes to get a contract is 12. And so again, average listing gets 3, it takes 12. You need 4 times the amount of showings than the average listing gets to actually get a contract. And that's why you're seeing 50% of them not sell. Makes sense? And so that's why you want someone who can drive eyeballs. That's what we're best at, right? I can't force somebody to buy your house. And I've noticed this just in being in thousands and thousands of houses over 20 years and watching buyers. And, you know, you watch on TV, they're like showing the cabinets and like the agent sells. People know in 2 seconds if they like the house or not. And I figured out a long time ago, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to be able to influence if they like it or not. Obviously, I can answer questions and support them, which is what anyone would want to do. But I learned that how you actually get the property sold is you increase traffic. And so if I get more eyeballs on the property online, that increases the chances of someone clicking the button to go look at it and picking the house to see with their agent or whoever it is, or with us. And so the more traffic I get, the more showings I get, the more likely I get somebody in the house who likes it and who pulls the trigger, right? It's a numbers game. And again, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And that's what we figured out in measuring it, is I can increase the needle of eyeballs. I can increase the basically demand for the property, increase the chances it sells. You can also increase the demand and increase price. And so that's what we've been very, very good at, where I'm basically a marketer in the real estate business. And we're very, very, very good at doing that overall. The good news is the ones that sell are selling for 97.5% asking price right now, which is great news there if you think about it, where it's not a huge amount off. Closed sales and condos, condo sales down 1.5% last month. The crazy part, though, prices down 11% for condos just last month, with the average price right now at $262,000 overall. Looking at showings per listing with condos, 1.9 showings, which is down 17%. So the average condo, the entire time is listed for 6 months, gets 2 showings. And so how many showings does it take to get a contract? It takes 9. So you see my problem there, right? You need 4+ times the amount of showings to get a contract than the average listing gets. And that's why over 50% of those do not sell overall. And so that's one thing to think of. They're getting 96% of asking price overall, so a little bit less just because the market is softer overall. But one thing I was going to kind of get into is like looking back at the first half of the year. We have the overall market numbers, and just kind of digging a little bit, look at how many new listings year to date versus the same time last year. So the first 6 months, new listings increased 8.7% compared to the same time last year. So for example, last year, 6,400 listings. This year, 6,900 new listings. Pending sales down 3.1% from last year. Interesting enough. Closed sales down 4.3% from the same time last year. Days on market is up 3.3%. So if you look at the properties that did sell in the first half of the year, their average days on market was 126 days. And so that's something to just keep in mind from a strategy standpoint, where a lot of consumers I found don't expect it to take that long. And obviously we're able to beat that with our marketing plan and marketing, process. But people sometimes are just expecting like the 2021 numbers where it sells in 2 days. But that's one thing to kind of watch at and think about overall. 50% of properties sell. Of the 50% that do sell, it took 126 days on average. And so that's something that really shows like that's why the agent you choose is so important. Median price, pretty much flat, down 0.3% from 361 last year to 360 this year. Average sale price up 0.5%. So we're holding strong, like on the edge from not having declining market. Average sale price last year, 438, 484, this year, 440. So up $2,000. We'll take it. Percent of list price received, almost identical. Last year, 97.4. This year, 97.3. And the affordability index is up a little bit, where last year is 73, right now 74. So condo market, new listings down 2%. Pending sales down 11%. Closed sales for condos first half of the year down 11%. Days on market up 23%. The average days on market for a condo to actually sell 127 days. Median price first half of the year down 4% from 250 to 240. So you are losing some equity there. We did see condo prices, which I didn't mention earlier, down 10% last month. So that's something to kind of keep in mind overall. Percent of list price received, they're getting 95.9%. Last year, they got 96.6, so down a little bit. And affordability index pretty much the same overall. So interesting numbers there to kind of look at and see, compare the different years. But we dig into all that stuff. We're holding on strong compared to a lot of places, which is great news. And for most home sellers here, people here, where you're seeing some markets in Florida and some vacation markets soften significantly. And that's something we'll keep in mind as well. One thing really been driving that is interest rates, right? Last week's show, it was 6.67. We just hit a 3-month low, which was awesome. But right now, up a little bit for a 30-year fix, it's 6.79. 15-year fix, 5.99. So it's in the fives, which is awesome. A 30-year jumbo loan is 6.87%. A 30-year FHA loan, 6.3%, which is pretty good. 30-year VA loan, 6.31%. And so a lot of pressure right now on Jerome Powell to reduce rates, right, which indirectly affect the bond market, indirectly affect mortgage rates. But right now, if you look at the next Fed meeting, which is coming up July 30th, pretty much there's a 93.3% chance they're not going to ease it. And so that's something we'll keep watching. There's a 6% chance they'll ease it, just a quarter point. So that won't do much. They're looking at the next meeting after that, September 17th. Right now, there's a 64% chance they'll ease rates a quarter point. A 4% chance they'll lower it a half point. And really, last week it was 85%. So that's changed a little bit overall. There's a lot of people pushing for that to happen. And the next meeting after that's October 29th. And there's an 86% chance they're going to ease rates. And so that hopefully will unlock some buying power for buyers. It'll unlock some buyers out there. And so that's something we'll keep watching in terms of being a home seller. What that means, if I'm a home seller, though, you got to remember Myrtle Beach is seasonal, right? So a lot of people are in town right now looking to buy properties. They've been searching for months. They're buying second homes. There's a lot of relocation still happening. So we're a little bit unique compared to a lot of places, but you want to think about that just from a strategy standpoint overall. As usual, any questions you have, you can always reach out and call us. We're here to help serve you this weekend, all day, every weekend, and every single weekday. 843-808-SOLD. We'll take a quick break, right back in a second with our Hot Buyers Alert.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors,
1, 2, or 1.
Buck and I both know exactly
About 4 minutes, 5 minutes, or
About 5 minutes.
you can run 2.
That agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee. Get this,
Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with two mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up.
Well, he didn't miss. He
Blake
didn't miss.
Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, it's your job. Read nearly 750 five-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start
It's just a quick hello and bye.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaVox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts.
I mean, like I said, I'll be there at 6 o'clock. I mean, if you can, it'll take 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes.
Challenges that come with life's big change. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make
I really appreciate it. Good.
stress-free.
I
An agent who's
know.
going to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service.
That's why in Myrtle Beach,
I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it.
That's pretty shitty.
himself.
I did an interview with Howie Mandel.
Trust Blake.
In the interview, he says, "Hey, come back. I'd love to say hello." He's rescheduled, right?
Yeah.
Now this guy's going, he don't do meet and greets. I said, well, then why would he tell me he wants me to come back and say, hey?
That is crazy.
You know, don't do that.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot Buyers Alert. My team and I work with a ridiculous amount of home buyers looking at properties here in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Street area. Anywhere from $250,000 to $4.4 million. If you're thinking about selling, give us a call immediately, 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. Been doing this a long time, but one thing we started doing a long time ago was putting our money where our mouth is. And that's a big thing with us, makes us different. Most agents don't start marketing your property till they put a sign in the yard and pray someone comes and finds it, right? With us, we're spending $100,000 a month in marketing, getting buyers from all over the globe that are looking to buy here. And we always just share it. They say, how many active home buyers do we have that are searching properties here on our website? Right now, 80,014 active home buyers. Again, 80,014. Those are like username, password, account. Those aren't like hits. Those are actual people that we have. Like right now, I got Jeff from Westminster, Maryland. He's in here 146 times on the site. His average sale price, $836,000. He's looking to buy. As well, I got Martin Hall here from Myrtle Beach. I got Jill Slate from Emporia, VA. I got Richard and Jennifer from Ashland, Kentucky. I got Ackworth, Georgia, Independence, Ohio, Glendale, Arizona, Bluebell, PA. So all over. These are actually searching this second. Mark Cetek from West Columbia, South Carolina. I got Charlotte. So we got people from all over looking to buy properties just like yours. What makes us different is we have all these buyers, what we call buyers in waiting, and we match up those buyers to our listings because I'm in business to sell the property and make money, right? Not just put it in MLS and pray someone buys it. So if you're thinking about selling, friend, relative, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma, whoever it is, if they smell like they might sell their house, do me a favor and say, look, you got to call my buddy Blake. Save me in your phone as Blake Sloan sold, whatever it is, 843-808-SOLD. That would be awesome for us. And even one of our success stories is someone who did that and super appreciative. So gets that really. Todd and Amy, they own a house in Myrtle Beach near the ocean. They were building new construction, need to get their home sold. But unfortunately, listed with a, quote, friend for 6 months, only a few showings, no offers, no guidance, and then no communication was their biggest frustration. They were very frustrated. But thankfully, an amazing radio listener referred them to Blake Sloan. We came in, immediately identified the problem, which was marketing. It was terrible. Designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual walkthrough, drove massive traffic, under contract in 2 weeks. They were absolutely blown away. Also, Matt and Debbie had a house in Carolina Forest for 7 months with previous agent. They were trying to relocate to Georgia, had been held up by the home being sold. They were very frustrated. Thankfully, somebody referred them to us at Sloan Realty Group. We came in, designed a custom plan, global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual walkthrough, drove massive traffic, under contract in less than 2 weeks, which is crazy. So if you want to be that next success story, reach out, call us. There's lots of horror stories right now. Like I mentioned, even that one that's a $600,000 condo on the water, terrible marketing. It's just sitting there and they're blowing through HOA, blowing through payments. And the reality is the agent has them set up for failure. And so if you want to know more, reach out, call me. We're here to serve. You can also get an instant cash offer, your instant home evaluation right on our website anytime you want. It's no hassle. It's like your own stock portfolio watch tool. You just keep on your phone. It's blakesloan.com. We'll see you back here next week. Is he here tonight or something?
Do what?
Howie Mandel here tonight?